Hi, welcome to Mix with Britvic. Today we're going to talk about Pepsi. So first things first, what is a cola? Well, it's a brown carbonated drink that is flavoured with an extract of cola nuts or with some similar flavouring. And today we're going to explore this subject and how to use cola in your mixed drinks. The first carbonated drink was discovered by accident in springs of mineral water that were naturally infused with carbon dioxide, making the water bubbly. So in 1767, Englishman Joseph Priestley found a way to reproduce the effect by infusing water with carbon dioxide. He dissolved carbon dioxide into pure water, producing a very weak carbonation, but showed the world it could be achieved. His research led to the book Impregnating Water with Fixed Air that came out in 1772. In 1783, German-born Johann Jacob Schweppe used this information to invent a device to create artificially carbonated water. And here we have the bottle. It's called a torpedo bottle. Originally used to recreate mineral waters, water would be carbonated with the addition of salts or other beneficial minerals. The bubbly water caused a great deal of excitement. It wasn't long until someone found a way to produce it on a mass scale and sell it to thousands of eager customers. Eventually, businesses started adding flavours and sugars. The first flavoured syrups were created in the early years of the 19th century. These ingredients, like ginger and birch bark, were chosen for their health benefits. At the time, people believed that soda had medicinal benefits. Though quinine was occasionally paired with fizzy water, it was only in 1858 that it was patented under the name tonic water by a Mr. Bond, owner of Pitt's & Co. Islington. It was marketed as a digestive and general tonic rather than a fever medication, which up to this point was its main use. It did not immediately become popular. These healthy flavours were overtaken by fruit flavours and sweeteners. By 1865, soda drinkers could choose from orange, apple, black cherry, lemon, grape, and many more. In the 19th and 20th centuries, the soda industry expanded rapidly. Initially, people bought their carbonated drinks from pharmacies with soda fountains, which became the social hub in every neighbourhood. The first filling and corking machine was designed in 1850, and a patent was filed for a crown bottle cap, which stopped carbonated beverages from losing their fizziness. Now it was much easier to sell carbonated beverages to people to enjoy at home. By the 1890s, the soda fountains started to gain international attention, first starting in London and Paris. Natural mineral waters were already very popular there. America had made them taste delicious. By 1911, there were over 100,000 soda fountains in America, serving 8 billion drinks yearly. They had started to rival bars and public houses. Then came the First World War, followed by luxury taxation and the Second World War, the main cause for the demise being the mass production of bottled sodas. So soda by the 1950s was now a basic necessity, and it was found in all bars, restaurants and theatres. The dwindling pharmacies that still stocked soda fountains had gone by the 1960s. By 1965, the vending machine was created and relegated the soda fountain to the history books. More and more flavours become popular with the masses, but none as much as the cola nut. One of the principal ingredients in the early colas was the African cola nut. This was a significant cultural, monetary and culinary item to the African people, and it was a very valuable commodity. North Americans quickly became enamoured with this stimulating nut, usually in the form of a soda. It was known among the Africans and Europeans, but it didn't find its way to North America until the 1880s. Early newspaper articles described the nut and its performance-enhancing characteristics. They believed it would become the beverage of the future, replacing both coffee and tea. Medical journals recommended it for digestion prior to a meal and to sprinkle powdered nut on cuts and wounds to help healing. Even the military looked into the value of the cola nut as a way to improve the fighting spirit of soldiers. Even the daily publications had great things to say about it. A cola nut, 4 actually, enabled a sick soldier to beat a healthy man in a 25-mile tramp. That was an excerpt from the Chicago Daily Tribune, 1895. Pepsi is an innovative company of firsts. Caleb Bradham, a pharmacist from North Carolina, renames a concoction known as Brad's Drink, and Pepsi Cola is born. Pepsi Cola became the first company to introduce motorized vehicle delivery for soda-based drinks in 1908. Modernization of the delivery mode from horse-drawn carts to motor vehicles was a huge step for the company. In 1909, race car driver pioneer Barney Oldfield was the first celebrity to endorse Pepsi, describing it as a bully drink, refreshing, invigorating, a fine bracer before a race. The advertising theme, delicious and healthful, was then used for over 2 decades. Pepsi Cola became the first brand to advertise via the skywriting mode. It did so at the New York's World Fair in 1939. Pepsi was the first company to hire black sales executives. They then started an advertisement campaign using African American models. Pepsi launches the first Diet Cola, 19 years before Coca-Cola launches Diet Coke. In 1975, PepsiCo set up a blind tasting between Pepsi and Coca-Cola. Take the Pepsi challenge. Blindfolded people were then asked to drink Pepsi and Coke from a white cup and decide which one they preferred based on taste. The majority chose Pepsi over Coca-Cola. Pepsi Max launches 8 years before Coke Zero. We welcome Titan branding. Pepsi globally relaunches the look and feel of Pepsi, bringing the nostalgia from the 1980s to the modern generation. During the height of popularity for the soda fountain, pharmacists couldn't dedicate enough time required to serve drinks. This job usually went to an assistant. Since pouring soda was seen as an easy job, it usually went to an eager young gent. They were known as soda clerks, with the nickname soda jerks because of the jerking action. During the height of popularity for the soda fountain, pharmacists couldn't dedicate enough time required to serve drinks. This job went to an assistant. Since pouring soda was seen as an easy job, it was usually an enthusiastic young lad who got the role. They were soda clerks, nicknamed soda jerks because of the soda jerking action they made when they were operating the soda fountains. They were not, however, experienced bartenders. We have the prohibition to thank for that. Without jobs and transferable life skills, bartenders found themselves as soda jerks. They thrived and the businesses did too. Their attention to detail, cleanliness and professionalism meant they completely changed the pharmacies into places to hang out for the whole family. These places were a nice change from the dark saloons and moody bars. They were friendly and inviting, with extremely beautiful ornate interiors, much like today's hotel cocktail bars. With the end of the prohibition, bartenders went back to their jobs behind the stick. With them, they had brought a new love and understanding for mixing drinks. The customer had something new too. Their palate had changed. 13 years without alcohol meant they had a taste for sweeter things and fun effervescence. The Cuba Libre, the Mojito, the Moscow Mule all became absolute musts on any cocktail menu. This tradition has continued, with 17 of the best-selling 50 cocktails worldwide being fizzy. The Aperol Spritz, the Paloma, the Bellini, Dark and Stormy and the Americano are just to name a few. Carbonated beverages are popular, so it's necessary that we understand them. Carbonation is a flavour. Think of it as seasoning. It adds bitterness to the complete concoction. Now take a Pepsi, let it go flat. What does it taste like? It tastes sweet. The carbonation or carbonic acid adds bitterness, which helps to balance the flavours of the drink. Take the Mojito. If you lose the carbonation, you've essentially created a carpaccio. That carbonation really adds flavour. Realistically, carbonated cocktails are a bartender's dream. You can make 10 cherry batangas in a minute and a half. That's 100 pounds you've made in a minute and a half. No shaking, delicious results, and very profitable figures.